It's time for a Left of Lansing I Told You So Tuesday for this August 6th of 2024. Democrats not only have a great shot now at keeping the White House, but now they have an even better chance at winning back the House of Representatives, keeping the U.S. Senate, and more importantly than that, keeping the Michigan State House blue, actually keeping or turning many state legislatures blue across the state. That's because Vice President Harris today did the politically wise move by naming Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. Now, there's no such thing as a perfect candidate, and when it comes to what's happening in Gaza, I don't believe there's really that much daylight between Walz and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who was reportedly on the short list. But in terms of keeping the energy level high for the Democratic base and for the younger, fervent, progressive, millennial, and Gen Z voting base, give Kamala Harris all the credit in the world for doing something that most Democrats before her would never have dreamed of doing. Harris, who's not the most progressive fighter I'd say we've ever had in the U.S. Senate, has done two things, though, right so far since becoming the head of the Democratic Party. One, she's remained on offense since day one. And two, she's ready to show a sharp contrast between the popular progressive policies that Tim Walz passed in Minnesota against the weird bro culture of the MAGA world and MAGA Ohio Senator J.D. Vance. In last week's show, I talked with Susan Demas of Michigan Advance, who wrote an excellent piece on why Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer would have made a great selection for Harris to be her VP. Whitmer is also a person who fights back with a smile, with that Midwestern smile, who understands her state and who knows how to read the political winds. And like Tim Walz, I wouldn't necessarily say that Whitmer was always like the most progressive politician that we've ever had, or progressive governor in the country, or even the most progressive governor here in the state of Michigan. But she is legislating like one, especially after Democrats captured the entire state legislature for the first time in 40 years. During her tenure in office, Whitmer has overseen the legalization of marijuana, abortion rights enshrined in the state's constitution, the elimination of many MAGA Republican trap laws designed to make it more difficult for women to get abortion care. She signed civil rights expansions for LGBTQ plus Michiganders. She is helping make the state more carbon-free by the year 2040. She signed a law helping farmers keep their lands by participating in large-scale wind and energy projects because, you see, Democrats are the ones who care about property rights. She also signed laws eliminating child marriage, eliminating hurtful and unscientific gay conversion therapy. She signed a law allowing the state to enact stricter environmental standards than the feds do. She repealed the union-gutting right-to-work-for-less laws. She restored prevailing wage laws, made it easier to vote, signed sensible gun safety laws, made it harder for domestic abusers to purchase guns. She passed the Working Families Tax Credit, repealed the MAGA Republican retirement tax here in Michigan, allowed homeowners to install clean energy devices like solar panels because, again, Democrats care about property rights. She also signed laws gutting the failed third-grade reading law that was a complete failure, and she also signed a law enacting free meals at public schools for kids. That's just some of the popular freedom-based policies that Whitmer and the Democrats have championed here during the last 2 years. And it's many of the same popular, freedom-based, and progressive policies that Tim Walz has passed in Minnesota as well. One difference, though, between Michigan and Minnesota is perhaps how Walz signed legislation directing $1 billion into housing, and half of that was being spent on affordable housing. So I do hope that Michigan Democrats are taking notes and paying attention on that issue. And while MAGA Republicans led by Dear Leader Trump and millionaire tech bro J.D. Vance and their corporate media pals will shout from the rafters that Tim Walz is just too much to the left, he's too progressive, nobody wants his radical populism politics in which working people, can unionize and make more money, and the environment is cleaner, and kids can go to school with full stomachs. You're going to get all of that yelling and all of that complaining from the corporate class, even though a recent CNBC survey listed Minnesota as the 7th best state in the country for business. I mean, I'll be darned. You help create a better work and educational environment in your state, and businesses then want to do business in your state? Oh, wow, you don't say. This is a tremendous, tremendous pick by Kamala Harris, who's showing she's also able to read the political winds and is seeing that when lined up against fascism, racism, and corporate greed, it's probably best to be on the side of the people. And her selection of Tim Walz paints that contrast for everyone to see. And it's a winning contrast. Picking Tim Walz was a no-brainer issue for the base and also for independent voters because progressive policies are popular policies. They celebrate freedom. I told you so. leftoflansing@gmail.com is the best way to reach me. Subscribe to the podcast and also subscribe to Left of Lansing on YouTube. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, the Gram, and Facebook. Take the battle to them.